So this is Angela Baker, and Angela is my showing agent on my team. Angela and I met. When did you buy your house?
2020, I
2020.
think.
Okay. So Angela was a neighbor kind of a listing that I had in 2020. And my seller said, "Hey, I think I already have a buyer. It's a sweet girl. She rides her horses on our property." And so she had me give her a call, and I showed Angela the property, and it was just like wham bam, like she bought it right away. And we didn't really get to know each other all that well just throughout that transaction. And we stayed friends on Facebook because I do always friend pretty much everybody that I work with. Yeah, so then she probably saw, I'm guessing you saw some of my posts. And
Yep.
Okay, so then she thought, I want to get into real estate. So tell us, why did you decide real estate?
I was actually a therapist at a hospital and during COVID, and that was a tough time. I also had just had a baby, and it was just this between the scheduling and just all the COVID restrictions. I just felt like maybe healthcare I needed a break from, and I wanted to just overall be home with my little one more and just be more flexible on doing what I wanted versus like an 8 to 5 job.
So how old was Boone whenever you got licensed?
When I got licensed, well, he came to school with me when he
Okay.
was about 7 months old.
Okay.
So I got licensed shortly after.
Okay. And before that, you were working like 40 hours a week, pretty much. And so he was in daycare a lot.
Yep.
And you're like, this is not for me. So why did you think, like, what was your expectation of real estate in the very beginning?
I honestly just wanted to be able to, my first goal is if I could make enough that I'm making as the therapist, or, even slightly less, because if I'm not going to work, you're not going to have the gas and the daycare fees. I was just hoping to kind of maybe switch like paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. And I remember you, when you first started, you said, I'm going to go ahead and keep my therapist job and just ease myself into real estate. And I said, absolutely. Because you never know how someone's going to do in the beginning. If, I didn't know you very well, but
no,
I did.
Yeah,
I did think that you had a great personality and just a really, really sweet person. So I was excited to work with you. She also played along with me on like all the interview questions that I typically ask, and she did my personality assessment. Did you do that before you became a member of my team, like the showing agent?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought so.
We did all of those. Yes.
So, and that's always a good sign. Whenever someone's like, you want me to do a personality assessment? Sure, I'll do that. I'm, happy to work with you. And then that gave me a lot more insight into who she was too. So that was, let's see, 2022.
Yes, it was at the end of 2022 when I became licensed and like started.
And so as a member of my team, she was eligible to receive leads. So she did start receiving some leads. And not too long into 2023, I decided I need a full-time showing agent. I really had tried a few other people, but they just didn't work out. And so that position never really worked well for me until Angela. So that goes to show you, like, having the right person do it is key. So we're gonna talk about this from her perspective as an independent agent, but we're also going to talk about this as a member of my team. So first, let's talk about the showing agent. What is it that you do as a showing agent?
So as a showing agent, pretty much, I do work for Jessica. So Jessica's and her clients are brought to me like in one group message, and we kind of figure out what they're looking for. What are their wants? They always have a pre-approval, so or if it's cash, but we have kind of that budget, what they're looking for, and location, and we get them set up on a big search. And when we find something, then they can let us know, yay, nay, I would like to go look at that or not. And if not, we just set them up on a search and we're actively looking. Normally, though, we can find a home for them within our first couple searches, and then we just set up schedule-wise what works best for them to go start showing.
And Angela shows typically, I would say at least 75% of the time, sometimes the entire time. It just depends.
It does depend.
She's actually going to be leaving this podcast to go show one of my clients'
Yep.
houses. And so that's really cool. Sometimes I get to work with buyers that I've just really had a phone conversation with. We've made a connection over the phone, signed paperwork, and then she shows, and then I get to show up for, like, sometimes if that's the case, if I've never seen the house and I haven't really met the buyer much, I'll show up to the inspection. I'll try to, and so then I can at least put my eyes on the house and give them, make a personal connection. But
yes.
Anyway, okay, so from a perspective of a brand new agent coming into this industry,
okay,
would you say that being a showing agent also attributed to some of your success?
Oh, absolutely. Not, I am working for her and her clients, but I do have I'm younger and I love social media, but when I get to go show these pretty houses in multiple towns, it's all about, they don't need to know that I'm not showing my personal buyer this house. And so, you can take a little picture of like the pretty pond in the background or the really pretty fireplace or the kitchen. And then you just start getting my interactions on my personal social media from the houses that I'm showing for her clients. That's been a big thing.
I love that.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it's her, it's her clients, but they don't know. And so I'm looking at all these pretty houses, and then you just kind of start getting leads. And when you go to multiple towns, it's just different leads in different towns.
And you got familiar, I would say, with this method as a brand new agent, you got familiar quicker with properties.
Oh yeah. Well, and talking to other agents and getting the lock boxes and showing different type of houses and looking up their information. One, you got really quick at looking up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think I wasn't super shy for very long because I started showing really quick a lot.
Do you think that being in that group message and seeing some interaction, like some responses from me to my clients, was also like, oh, let me sit back and kind of observe some of this?
Oh yeah. I mean, just listening or watching, I guess, because I'm in the group message, like the wording that you would use, or if people had questions, how to explain things better. When I was a newer agent, if I would have somebody ask something similar, and if I couldn't remember, I would go back and look, and it was kind of nice, but I feel like I probably still could have called you and asked, but it was nice that I had like already seen it, and I just got to see how she communicated. So that was helpful.
So just so everyone knows, she's my full-time showing agent, and she's amazing. So one of the things that I think is key, if you're a team leader and you're looking for a showing agent, find someone that is really personable, that can make connections easily. So I'd say, like, if you're looking at the disc profile, somebody that has a pretty good balance of D and I, because the other thing that her and I are similar in is we can be direct. I'm probably a little bit more.
I'm probably a little bit more, but I'll probably follow up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But she definitely does it in a very kind way, never, condescending. It's just like, no, like, here's what you sent me, and you told me you had to have 2 bathrooms, but the ones you keep sending me are 1 bathroom. Do I need to change your search? Like, those kind of conversations. But she closed 40.
Yes, 40.
In 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking at our 1099s the other day from EXP, and you tripled your income. Do you want to share how much that was?
Yes, I made right under 150,000. I know, as the first year. So that was fantastic.
As a brand new agent in a rural area that our average price point is 150,000-ish. Sometimes it's a lot lower. Sometimes, we can go high.
You definitely have
up to 500 is probably,
I think I think my one highest was like 430, but I had a lowest of 17,000. I mean, it just,
we have the gamut here, but that's okay. I mean, so the reason I'm sharing that is because a lot of people think, well, if I'm in a smaller area, there's just no way I can make 6 figures. If I'm a mom, so she also has a baby at home. And let's talk about your schedule for a minute. What does your typical weekly schedule look like?
You always get me on this. So I am not as organized as Jessica weekend. I do not have my schedules laid out. I do have a sitter that watches Boone anywhere from like 1 to 2, sometimes 3 days a week. And that's kind of on my schedule, maybe like a 9 to 2, a 10 to 3, like just a good chunk out of the day. But it really just depends, everybody knows your schedule can go from nothing to 10 showings and super quick. Spring and summer and fall tend to be a little bit busier. I do have a little tribe of, I have a great grandpa and the sitter and just some family here and there that are really great about letting me drop off my little one to go show a house or two and pick him back up. So he's not at the sitter all day, but yet maybe for an hour he was. And it's been really helpful to me. But, if we don't have anything, I'm able to catch up more on paperwork or things like that. I'm a little bit more of a late night worker than Jessica here. I do like searches for people at night. I'm like looking a little bit harder at the MLS more in the evenings and nights. My husband's home. It's a little easier especially now that he's a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do some paperwork. So it's just for me and my schedule, a little bit more in the evening is helpful. But just during the day, I try to cater. Some people can't show on certain days, but if they're pretty flexible, I'll try to like schedule my showings for the day he's at the sitter, and it just works out.
Yeah. And I would say, even though you don't do your calendar maybe as much as I do, but
I do.
I think that you have, she tries to group, because that's the other thing is she's north of us. So she's like 20 or 30 minutes away. And a lot of my showings are farther south. So we're a border town.
It's about an hour distance from a lot of your showings.
So she really does try to group the showings together. And I think that so you do time block in a sense.
Yeah.
But what I also want people to understand is that you also get to spend so much time with your son and really be a present mom.
Yes.
And I see you like enjoying riding your horse and taking care of your property. So as far as like comparison and work hours, like strict, like when you're actually working, not like sprinkled throughout the day, but that, consecutive work, compare it to your work life before. What is it like now?
It's almost crazy to say that. I would say maybe a third of the hours, like truly, like where I would need my little one to be at a sitter and like working or showing houses. I'm kind of bad, because to me, like a phone call, I just don't consider that as like work, because we could be outside on a walk and I could make a phone call to an inspector, an appraiser, a buyer, and it just doesn't really feel like I'm having to sit down at my table and like, not saying not super focused, but I can do a lot of work on the go.
Yeah.
What I do live on a farm. I love to ride horses. I can do a lot of my paperwork on horseback, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell them about your tax write-off?
Yeah.
I think this is cool.
What, the horse?
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked if I could write my mobile office off. No.
She said no?
But I can,
yes.
because we live on a farm and it's a cattle working horse.
Okay.
But I did. My tax lady finds me funny.
Oh, I love it. Okay, there was some other things that I think was instrumental to Angela's success in the beginning is her mindset. Well, and continues to be her mindset around knowing what she's really good at and what she wants to spend her time on. So you embraced from the very beginning utilizing our transaction coordinator.
Oh, I've never not used her.
And I think that that's a key, like for a brand new agent. If you can start out with that, it's a lot easier than when you've done it yourself for a while. And it's like, ooh, like it's just harder to give up the control. Also, we happen to have like probably the best
one ever.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I've never not used her, and I don't want to not use her. If she decided to ever not be a transaction coordinator, I wouldn't even know what to do, to be honest. She takes a lot, and maybe that's why I don't work as much, but yeah. I don't have to sit down and do a lot of the scheduling. And like that nitty gritty work, that very detailed work. I do obviously the paperwork to get them into contract. And then I hand all of this paperwork to her, and it's hers now. Mine's pretty much done.
And I think that that allows you to go out and get more business, because a lot of those transactions she already knows her numbers, which is so awesome. I'm so proud of her being on my team to know your numbers. She closed 40 transactions last year, and 15 of those were leads from the office.
Mhm.
So that means the rest of those was her sphere. So what do you think helped you be successful in reaching out to your sphere? What kind of lead gen did you do?
I really think just social media is a big part. And I know I feel like a lot of people say that, but really it sounds funny, but like stalking your own post. Um, I do have I live in the town that I grew up in. I worked in the town. Like I just have a lot of connections to my hometown that I live in. And so if I post like a new listing, well, when you have 10, 12 shares on it, well, I'll go follow who shared it. And if people are commenting or tagging people in those, I'm reaching out to those people. And so it does take a little bit of, phone work, detailed work, but I've got quite a few leads from that. People just reaching out just because they see I just seem busy.
Yeah.
I'm always posting, again, those little tiny reels, or what is it? Your Facebook story. That's what it is. Like, even if I'm going to a meeting or going to a showing, like every day I try to post just a couple little snippets of what I'm doing. Or if I am negotiating an offer and I'm at the park with my little one, like people are seeing that, like I'm working, I'm being a mom, and I'm still staying busy. And
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of leads. If you post a pretty house that's got a nice background, oh, where is that? And I'm like, oh, are you looking for a house? It just kind of leads into it. So
it's very organic for you.
I mean, it is.
So when you message people that comment on a Facebook post or a share, what are you saying to them? What's your kind of go-to script?
It kind of depends if I know them or not. If I'm going to be a little bit more casual. If I don't know them, I will reach out and just say, hey, I saw somebody tagged you on my new listing. I don't know if it's something you're interested in. If it's vacant, I'm like, hey, we can go look at it if you're interested. And if it's not, I'll kind of say, what are your, what's your schedule like if you want to go check it out? And, after we kind of like, I hit, if they like, yes, no, then we can kind of go into like, well, is there anything else you're looking for? Like maybe we could see multiple for together.
Yeah.
And then it just, kind of goes from there. And obviously it's the follow-up. If you go and they don't like it, well, they're still buyers. They're still actively looking. And so again, it's just staying in touch.
And I think that something that's key that maybe doesn't come naturally for everyone is asking questions. Probe and ask more questions. Be curious when you're talking to your clients.
Absolutely.
And don't just accept. So I love that you do that. Real quick, because I know you have to go show a house.
Yeah, I
do. I wanted to talk about, so she's an avid listener of the podcast, which
I try. I do try if I'm driving, because I'm showing a lot.
Has there been anything that you've picked up that I've trained you on, or any tool system that's made of, you think, an impact in your success?
I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit, everybody's going to take a little bit here or there. And I think it's just, when I did start out, I didn't know any different than being on your micro team. Like that is what I, grew up with. And so it's nice for me if I do need help, or if I do need help showing, like we have a team here that, even though it's not their job or job description, like they're willing to help out. And I think that's nice, if somebody's sick. And I think it's being okay to reach out maybe for help, if that's what you want to call it. But it's like the transaction coordinator. It was just something that I chose to do from day one. And I hear you talk about just doing that and like offloading yourself. And I love it. I mean, it's something I would take. And I've heard of some people doing more social media. I'm not into the TikToks. That's the one thing I don't do. But I do
Snapchat.
I do Snapchat, and I try like the Facebook reels. But just little things like that, I think I try.
Yeah. And I guess another question, a limiting belief that a lot of team leaders have is that I'm not going to be able to find a good quality showing agent or listing partner, whatever position on the team, because why would they want to just help me? And what we've tried to do is where no one feels like they're limited. And I think you're such a great example of that. Do you feel limited in any way being on a member of the team?
No, I don't. Like I said, there's always there was a couple weeks this last year, I couldn't tell you what, where between my personal buyers and your buyers, it was definitely like, I don't think I could have taken one more person on. But I don't feel like I would have felt bad to either reach out to you or somebody else on the team to help me out just for 1 to 2 showings. But I've never felt like I've had to choose between like my personal and like being on the team's success.
Yeah, because it's important to me that each member of the team is successful. And if and when Angela says, hey, I want to transition to just being an agent on the team and not a showing agent, the cool thing about the micro team setup is that really she could basically be me on the team. So she could plug in to our marketing, to our leads, to our transaction coordinator, and then a showing agent that might be assisting all of the lead agents on the team, and a listing partner that would assist all of the lead agents on the team. So, I mean, there's really, the sky's the limit. And that's what's really cool about this setup, I think, is that everyone can be successful. And my personal goal is for every member of our team to make over 100,000 this year.
That you told me that when I started.
And I love that Angela proved me right. So
I thought you were crazy.
So thank you for being on. Any last words?
I don't
advice for a brand new agent, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, she did say, when I first started, I was going to ease into it, and maybe it's just me, but I ended up just giving a notice, and starting full time.
Go in.
Yeah.
Burn the boats.
I think I had 1 transaction maybe to my name, under contract. Hadn't even sold any, and I quit my full-time job. And it was hard the first couple months, but it was really nice that I don't think I would be as big as I was if I wouldn't have made that jump so early. Kind of have a couple hard months, but I was so available to do any showings, learn, do your showing agent, just follow the other agents. And so, I mean, I'm really thankful that I saved back and had a couple months stash, but I really think that helped be bigger, just to be so, let's just jump into it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for being on, Angela.
You're welcome.
Bye, moms.